Sal Angelo from, A Plus Racing. And I'm bringing you the Q&A Monday. Yeah, about every other Monday when I can, I get to this part. But anyhow, so if you've got a question that you have a concern for your Miata and you'd like me to try to answer it, just post it in one of the comments. Actually, when I get onto YouTube, it shows me all of the current comments that have been asked on the channel, and I just kind of go off of that. So you're seeing what I see. I also get an email, and I read every one of them. So, hey, let's just jump right in and get started. All right, so the first one, and Mike's with me, so Mike's he doesn't like to be on the camera, though, but he likes to be in the background and talking. So who is this? This is
Ivor WM2291. 3 comments, looks like.
So thanks for the drain hole screwdriver to release trick. I think he's talking about on the trunk release, the video I did. That, no problem. I'm glad you liked it. Looks like he's a binge watcher because now he's got like a whole bunch of money. So how to get a Spec Miata racing license with SCCA and NASA. He liked that video. Oh,
you forgot your mouse.
I forgot the mouse. Mike, you can control the mouse. The hub rebuild, great video, good tips. Yeah, he's a binge watcher. Hey, thanks Ivan for watching the videos. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see.
Gordon Kunkler.
Gordon, thank you for the video. I did not know about the tunnel notch until this video. I have needed this mod. I did this myself this weekend. Good. It's a cool mod, especially if you're a big guy and you're trying to get into a little car. It's not that hard to do. And one thing I did one a few years ago, and we were underneath the car moving the seat around. I think what I want to do though is make a brace down there because when you take the tunnel out and you put that other sheet metal in there, the floor kind of moves around a little bit. So I think what I want to do is build a plate that goes underneath the floor and around the brace, like with a channel iron, and then bolt the seat to that so it gives me a lot more structure. I'm thinking about doing that in the future because I noticed that way I noticed it is we broke a backstabber during a Lucky Dog. And the backstabber broke and the seat was moving around. And when I was underneath there trying to bolt everything back together, I saw that the seat could move around a little easier with the notch tunnel versus a non-notch tunnel. But hey, I'm glad that video helped you out. Thank you for the comment. All right, that was Gordon.
Yep.
Okay.
Javier Seguera.
Javier. Hey Al, love your videos to explain the new engine braking procedure. Should it be done on the dyno or can it be done at home? Okay, great question. How do I brake in the engine? I've done it both ways. I've gone to the dyno and I've told them, I go, hey, look, I just built this engine. It's got 0 time on it. So can you guys break it in? They take about a half an hour. They run it up. They cool it down. They run it up. They cool it down. They do some, some light pulls with it. And then after about 30 minutes, then they go ahead and they do, their heavy pulls on it. So I've done that. At the racetrack, to break it in, if I have the time, okay? It's not always time managed because sometimes we're replacing an engine at the racetrack when we put a new engine in there and we're racing. But if I have the time, then, I just try to take it easy on the car at first, doing some, maybe 5/10s for the first couple of laps, and then just slowly start ramping it up, let the car cool down. Yeah, we're doing this during the lunchtime. And to let the car cool down and, then just push a little harder, maybe spend the day. And then I always use regular dinosaur oil. I don't use synthetic on the break-in. And then after like maybe a day of running the car, then I'll take out the oil, change the filter, and I'll run synthetic in it. So that's kind of my braking procedure if I have the time. But sometimes we don't have time and we throw it in there and we hammer away. But I hope that helps you out, buddy. Thank you for the comment. And then who was that again?
That was Javier Segura.
All right, great. Next one.
Post it.
I'm having a problem with the time belt rubbing on the water pump. Any fix tips? I would really like to see a picture of that. When I read that, I was trying to picture in my mind that the belt goes around the water pump, so I can't really see how it's rubbing on the water pump, unless maybe the belt is getting pushed in too far back. One time I had a car where one of the tensioners wasn't seated correctly when they did a timing belt. I bought the car that way, and it not only did it rub the timing belt on the back side of the engine, but it also broke the timing belt eventually. So that's how I found that out. But I would definitely check the idler pulley and the tensioner pulley to make sure that they're flat against the water pump. I think that's what you mean, that the edge of it is hitting it. All right, I appreciate that, Post-it. All right, the next one.
User.
The user. Oh, at 5.04, your exact cam timing is off by 1/2.
He's a counter, Al.
He's a counter, yeah.
He's a counter.
The engine will stay running. Will still run. Motor is designed for 19 teeth between the hash marks. At 5:04 shows 20 teeth. All right, your old video, 19 teeth space. This video, oh yeah, he's definitely counting up.
He's a counter.
It says read more. What's on that?
Yeah, let's see what else.
Consider the hash mark combinations on the letter and the counterpoint foreman designed to put them there. Need paint pen markings to set light camera angle in front. Use your invisible see-through hand if available. Head being depth 20 will cause half a tooth alignment error. Teeth are. This guy must be an engineer.
Yeah.
I see engineer written all over this.
Yeah.
Note 35 to 40 mil total head deck shim near map before interference issue. Greatest cause of alignment error is belt stretch, which can be 2 to 2%, and it is 140 thousandths. This guy's got it figured out, man. I like the 5.6. Isn't that like a 223?
Yeah, 5.56. He rounded up. He rounded up.
Yeah,
He's
so
fine.
I think that's like a caliber 223, which I have
He's
like
a counter.
five or six of those. I read this the other day, and I went back and I looked up in my Mazda manual. I have the original Mazda manual. I think somebody wrote on one. Oh, Ford engine and Ford Mazda. Guess what? I worked for them then, okay? So I was trained by Ford and Mazda back in the 90s. I worked for Ford and Mazda from about 1984 until 2002-ish. And so I remember when these were brand new, and I remember when they sent them to school. And in no place in school did they tell us to count 19 teeth. And I still have the original manual that we got from Ford/Mazda. And because we actually use the little 1.8 and the 1.6 in some of the other Ford vehicles too, because Mazda and Ford, they've been sleeping together for decades now. And so, and it clearly shows them lining up the timing marks. And I went back and I read it again, even though I've done this timing like 10,000 times. And nowhere in there does it tell us how to count 19 teeth or 20 teeth or whatever you guys are doing with the teeth count. I don't know who came up with that. So, but here's my opinion on this user. I don't care. Okay? I don't care how you do it. All right? I showed you the easiest way for me. All right? And it works every single time. All right? I never have to, the back of my mind, have to wonder, is it going to start? Is it not going to start? Is it going to run right? I don't have to think about it. And the reason why I don't think about it is because I don't have that problem. When I see other people struggling to understand it, and actually people tend to make it more complicated than it needs to be, I try to give them a simple solution without the mumbo jumbo, okay? So, I only use a 14 millimeter wrench, and that's the way I do it. And every time I do it, it's right. It's never wrong. I've never had one in decades where I set the timing off and it didn't run. They always run right. So, but however you do it, buddy, I mean, if that works for you, then just do it that way. So, when I worked for Ford Mazda, I was a flat rate mechanic. And although when we were sent to school, they taught us how the manufacturer wants us to do it. Did we always do that? No, we didn't always do that. I was a flat rate mechanic. I had to fix the cars as quickly as I could and as accurately as I could so that we had good quality control. And so they can't come back. Because if you're working on flat rate and the car comes back, you have to fix it for free. And so I have streamlined everything that I work on to the point where I can do it quicker and faster than the book says, but yet I don't compromise the longevity of the vehicle. And that's the key to being a good technician, is to making sure that if you're going to take a shortcut, that it's not a shortcut that's going to cause some serious problems with the car someplace else, or any problems, because then it's a comeback and then you have to fix it for free. So anyhow, so all these techniques that I show you that I only have these because I don't like to work any harder than I absolutely have to. I always refer to the manual of how they want it done, what they want to torque it to, and stuff like that. And then if I can find a shortcut here and there, where there are lots of them, I'm going to share it with you. It's not a secret to me, all right? So, hey, on that cam timing video, it must be doing something right. It's got over 10,000 hits, and it's only been up for a few months. So I know a lot of people are watching that, and I've get a lot of comments on that people have, that it streamlined the process of replacing the timing belt, and their car starts and they're happy. So, but whatever one that you enjoy using and works for you, that's the one that works. Okay, all of us mechanics, when we built transmissions, we didn't build them the same. We had different ways of doing it. All right, so that comes from you, sir. Thank you very much. And let's go to the next one. Let's see. While driving my... We're going to pause for a midget for their announcements. Okay, yeah, there's some school announcements. Hey, all right, so we're going to the next one on Dave Farrell. While driving my O2 MB, the oil drain plug fell out. I stopped the car with 0 oil pressure. We replaced the plug and filled the oil. Upon restarting, we've got the dreaded knock. Quiet for 2 seconds, drove the car 6 miles and knock came back. Car parked until I decide the next action advice will be appreciated. Thanks, Dave from Mississippi. Big Dave from Mississippi. Dave, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's bad. That's bad. So, yeah, that's why I teach here that we check the drain plug a minimum of 3 times before we lower the car on the lift, because it does happen. It's an easy thing to forget. And I've seen people do that in a dealership, I had one buddy of mine that used to call me from the corner. Hey, did I leave the drain plug out and there's an oil still in my toolbox? I'm like, yeah, can you bring me the drain plug and the oil? I'm down and around the corner. So, yeah, it happens. Yeah, if that thing's knocking, man, it probably got too much clearance in the bearings. And they're going to have to tear that thing down. But, fortunately I made a video on how to rebuild that engine. So, I'm sorry to say, but yeah, you're probably going to have to take that thing down. I think you emailed me on this also, and because I read an email about this, and you asked me about if you should rebuild it or not, and I said, yeah, rebuild it. But sometimes, if you can find a used engine, and it's getting tougher. Years ago, we found these things laying everywhere. I remember buying engines for $50. But if you can find a used engine that runs and get it in there for now, and then rebuild that one and really take your time and do a bang-up job, and then swap it when you're ready, and then sell your used engine, that might be a good plan. But let me know if you need any help with any of that. All right? Thanks. Okay.
Don Jovius.
This is literally one of the best automotive and we're talking about the cam timing. It was the other guy who was
cam timing, yeah.
Whoever it was didn't like it. This is literally the best video out there. Hey, I'm glad that Don, that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that helped you get your car running. All right. Okay, what about the belt tensioner procedure? Crank needs to rotate 1 and 5/6 turns to get the cams into the right position for the tensioner spring to apply the correct tension on the belt. That's what the second mark is for on the oil pump, 60 degrees to the left of top dead center mark.
60 degrees?
We used to rotate the engine after putting the timing belt on. We would go around 2 turns and come back just to make sure that everything was set right. I'll be honest with you, because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't always do that. And it does say it in the book. And they did teach us that at school. Have I ever had a problem with it? No, I've never had a problem with it. Is it a good idea? Yes, it's a good idea. So if that's what you're getting to, I don't understand the 60 degree, I don't understand what that is. But I do understand that you're talking about turning the crankshaft, and it says it in the book to rotate the crankshaft 2 times, and that just kind of makes sure that the belt squares up and everything, and then you can reset the tensioner. It's a good idea, and like I said, I'm guilty of not always doing that. All right, I hope that helps you out, Patrick.
That was Patrick.
All right, Patrick. No grease. What are we talking about? And this is from Jamal. And he says, from the Miata inner and outer tie rod end replacement. Spec me out. Excuse me. No grease. No grease fitting. If we had grease fittings, I'd be greasing them. But most of the aftermarket, other than Moog, but Moog are pretty expensive. I don't see grease fittings on there. I haven't seen a grease fitting in a while now. But thanks for the comment. Hey, I love the channel. I really helped me tackle a few projects on my MB2 track car. I am not bound to SM rules, but keep on the stock ECU. Any SM tricks I could use for a few easy horsepower. Maybe things that aren't quite legal, and spec me out a wink wink.
He's not running SM, he says, so you can tell him the truth, Al.
No. You know, I don't really deal much in MB2s. That's the VVT motor, and I only owned one of those, and thank God I sold it. It seems like all I ever did was work on it. It was like they couldn't get the damn check engine light off of it. I must have tackled every code available on that car that the car could have. But I finally sold it to a kid in the class, and she loves it. She really likes it. But as far as on an MB2, I really don't know of any legal or illegal tricks on that one, since I don't compete that car. There are some tricks on the other ones, the MB1s, and mainly the 94 to 97s, because in the 94 to 97 you can run 99 pistons in that, and it's a pretty horrific increase in power, because I think one of them runs a 9-to-1 compression ratio and the other one runs 9.5-to-1 compression ratio. The pistons look completely different. The 99 has a pop-up piston where it's got like a point to it, and so it increases the compression ratio, where on a 94 it's a flat piston. That's a real common cheating thing to do, is to put 99 pistons in a 94 or 97, and that's a significant boost in power. I also heard that, you know, you can cut the back of the camshaft off for the exhaust, and you can use the exhaust on an intake, and it's supposed to. I've never done that trick. I have done the pistons, but not competed like that. But a lot of the power is developed in the cylinder head, and that's a matter of taking that cylinder head to somebody who specializes in spec Miata cylinder heads. So I would say the biggest significant gain in our world is the head work. And so finding a really good quality person that knows how to flow those heads, you could get some substantial power out of that. But we're not allowed to do very much head work on the spec Miata. All right, I hope that answers your question. And that came from
Chris.
Chris, yeah. And we don't mess in spec Miata. We don't mess with the PCMs very much, but I do see people are using like the Mega Squirt and stuff like that, and they're actually not that expensive, so they're doing that. All right, first of all, thanks for the great videos. I have a problem and I need your help. I changed the fuel pump and fuel filter on an NB. When I put ignition, I don't hear the pump priming at all, and I try to start the car and the engine cranks not starting, and then suddenly, like an explosion, I am getting leak from fuel filter area. Do you think it could be a clogged injector or a bad fuel pressure regulator? Wow,
That's a lot.
who's this? This is
Mert Gay Retley.
Man, that's crazy. I've never heard of that. So it blows up the fuel filter. So I would, that's strange, because on an NA, I can actually take the fuel return line and pinch it off with a pair of pliers, and then to see what the maximum fuel pressure is that the fuel pump's putting out. It's like 100 pounds or under 80 to 100 pounds. And I never seen the lines blow up or the filter blow up or anything like that. It would be interesting to put it on a fuel pressure gauge. And you could even do the fuel pressure gauge at different places down the line and probably figure out where the blockage is at. I'm assuming that it's got something blocked. So by plugging in a fuel pressure gauge back by the fuel pump, you could see what the pressure is there versus what it is, up towards the rail. Because they're on the MB, is it MB?
MB, yeah.
MB, there are a few different places where, it's got the quick connects on there. And so I would go with that and try to see where the blockage is. But yeah, I don't think it would be an injector. I think that something's blocking the rail or something like that. But I can't believe it makes so much pressure that it explodes the fuel filter. Let me know if I'm correct on that. And when you figure that problem out, email me. I'd like to hear what you come up with. Or if you need more help on that, email me your phone number and I'll call you directly and we can talk about it. All right, what do we got? This one. And this is from, what is that, Mike?
Navidran Mod.
10 days ago. I'm thinking of swapping roll bars. Have you ever swapped them? I did.
Full cages?
Once. And I'll never, ever do it again. Somebody, when I very first started out 20 years ago in Miatas, somebody gave me a wrecked race car. And the cages were a lot of money then. So what I did was I decided I was going to cut the cage out and I was going to put it in another car and rebody it. And so I had the car here at school. It must have took us 3 weeks to get that cage out of there. And we had to cut it into pieces and everything. Man, it was a pain in the ass, not to get it out, but even to put it back in another car. It was really hard. It took a lot of labor. It was very labor intense. Miatas are like an onion, man. When you got to take those quarter panels off to get to cut the cage out, you were just layers of sheet metal after layer after layer after layer trying to get to the back braces by the package tray back there. It was very difficult. And then my buddy Mark, who's the regional champion of Spec Miata, his first Miata that he's still racing, we did the same thing. I gave him a wrecked Miata with a cage in it, and he says, well, I'm going to take the cage out of yours and put it in mine. And after he got done, he goes, I'll never do that again. It's a nightmare, buddy. I mean, yeah, if you don't have any money and all you have is a lot of time on your hands, you can go ahead and do it. One of the problems, too, is you end up having to cut the cage at the door bars. So what we did is we cut them a little narrower, or cut the slot a little bigger, and we put in a metal sleeve inside and then welded it, so that it had a steel sleeve in the door bar on both sides, welded it pretty good on all the bars. You end up having to do a lot of that because you can't take the whole cage out and put it in there in one piece. You have to cut it in sections. So it's a little difficult. But thanks for asking that question. That was great, man. I'm fixing to do an NA, so I think the same deal. Thank you for the information. This is Scott. How shock installation. Oh, good. So it looks like he's going to be putting in a racing suspension kit in his NA. Good deal, man. I hope that video helps you.
Dion, your boy. It's not my fault, man.
Yeah, so I posted the last Q&A Monday. I told you that the Torsen is almost indestructible, except I do know one person that actually destroys Torsen. This is my buddy Dion. He actually really helped me out in the beginning of me becoming a Spec Miata racer. He watched my videos and gave me good, solid, information. I was posting my videos online on an old forum that used to be specmiata.com. And, I got everything from I watched 2 minutes of it and vomited. You'll never be fast. You suck. But Dion was one of the guys that said, yeah, you're coasting too much, you're braking too early, you're not on the gas fast enough. He actually, really put in the time to make me faster. And then when I became faster and we had to race against each other, he didn't want me to beat him. And so it was a battle for me to finally get around his ass, and I beat him. But he's my partner in racing. We have a lot of co-cars together, and we race a lot of endurance races together still. And for some reason, he seems to go through Torsen. So not on his car, only in my car. His car, I don't have any problem. My car, he's blowing up Torsens left and right. All right, Diane, I love you, brother. All right. Hey, Al, what would actually be the correct RPM to shift gears for a 1.6? Also, what the RPM should be at when exiting a corner? That depends on a lot. That also depends on gear ratio, the track, the turn, the conditions of that track at that time. But when a car makes power, it slowly ramps up its horsepower and torque, and it gets to a certain point where it maxes out and it starts to come down. But if you keep revving it up higher, you don't gain any power, you actually lose power. So I try to get the car shifting, just after I reach its maximum horsepower, so that when I drop down to the RPM, it's still on the ramp up of the next, power band. And so I kind of keep it like that. But on an NA, on a 1.6, you know, they actually redline, I think, at 7,200, somewhere around there. They start going, you know, you got to be shifting way before that.
I shift about 62.
Yeah, I would say about 62.5, 65, somewhere around in there. I'd be shifting in that area. And then, but, you know, you can also watch videos of, like, other drivers who are winning the races on YouTube. I don't have a lot of them out there, but that you can see, like, when they shift. You can hear their car. You see the marks on the side of the track. You know, oh, okay, he's shifting, you know, right before that tower. And then you should be shifting at the same places, all right? That if you're getting on the gas at the same time. Okay, that's your question. That's kind of a vague question, but hey, thanks a lot for the comment.
That was his.
Where do you score your LSDs differentials from? This is from
High Standard.
His name?
High Standard.
Okay. High standard. Okay.
He wants your
high
secret.
Standard. You want to shoot with us? Are you a high standard? I remember they used to make a really nice little 22 semi-automatic high standard.
He wants your secret stash, Al.
They were big dollars. All right. So the high standard. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. So where do you? Oh, you know what? I get most of those from H&M Auto Dismantling in Rancho Cordova. They're kind of friends of mine. I've spent a lot of money there. They let me go rummage through their pile, you know, and I know what I'm looking for. And so I find, you know, one in their garbage pile. Hey, you want to get rid of that thing? And then so I buy them there. It's usually the wrong gear ratio, though. So I end up buying an open diff with the right gear ratio, and then I end up swapping them. But I got a few of them laying around. What color is that bright green MX in the back? Oh, you must be talking about the 99 car. Hey, you know, I don't... It's a Chevy color. I'm embarrassed to say, but yeah, it's Chevy. It's like a Chevy Camaro, and it was a special edition color, and I want to say it was from around 2010. And I had to repaint that car the other day because the hood. I had to repaint the hood, and what I did was I looked it up as like a 2010 Camaro colors, and then they had all the colors available. There are two greens. One of them is a metallic like apple green, and the other one is the green that is that car. And I can't remember the name of it, and if I'd have prepared for this video I would have had it for you, but you could look it up. I did Googled it, and it came up with every color available in 2010 or 2013 or something like that, and it was in there. So I hope that helps you. Maybe one or two more.
Talk about rear ends diffs.
It's all the same. Oh,
Covington race.
Wines all the time. It was, I don't know what that is. Knackered.
Is it knackered? In other words, messed up, or was someone didn't set it up right?
It probably isn't got set up right, but sometimes what happens on those diffs, if they're not set up right and they start making noise and you just keep driving it like that, you embed that problem into the ring and pinion. And so you may be able to fix it, you might not. At the same person, this is, what is it? Who's this from, Mike?
Covington Race.
Okay. It says, I would say...
Wouldn't say it was
wrong. It's more for people who can't afford to pay someone with the skills. All right, he writes nice. And he's talking about my differential that I didn't want to do because I know I wasn't doing it the way the dealership taught me to do it. But I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you're right. If you can't afford to pay someone to do it, there's only a couple moving parts in there. They're not that hard to put together. But you do have to have some special skills or special equipment sometimes. All right, nice description on the cam timing. Another person that likes cam timing, and we're going to go one more.
You already did this one.
Oh, we're good?
That's where we were last time.
All right. We got them all. We got them all answered. All right. Hey, I hope that helped you guys out. I hope that you like the channel and that you subscribe to it. I appreciate comments, good or bad. I'm always learning. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I'm learning about stuff all the time. All right. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the racetrack. Bye now.